What up, y'all? TMC Guy and Rossi are back for another banger video. This time, we're switching things up a little. We're gonna be giving you, hopefully, a debate series that you guys will love and that we can make some more videos around. We are going to be discussing what is the best Deftones album, Around the Fur or White Pony. This is kind of a back and forth debate between me and Rossi. It's kind of a debate amongst the Deftones fan base as well. So yeah, how it's gonna work is me and Rossi will have 4 rounds each. We'll be going over round one, which is gonna be Chino's performance and the lyrical content. Round two, which is gonna be the instrumentals and production. Round three will be the consistency of the album and the standout tracks. And round four will be the overall album experience. So how it's gonna start is, let's say for instance, I'm gonna make my points. I'm gonna give my case for why I think a certain album is better, and then Rossi's gonna give his points for why a certain album is better. Then we're gonna try and rebut each other's points afterwards. So yeah, that's how each round is going to work. And I am on the side of Around the Fur. I think Around the Fur is better. I do go back and forth between it and My Pony, but generally speaking, Around the Fur is my favorite Deftones album. And Rossi's favorite is White Pony. You've seen our rankings, so yeah, that's how it's gonna work. And yeah, without further ado, let's just get into this. Round one, Chino's performance and local content. I think I should start. So yeah, in terms of performance, Around the Fur has probably Chino's most ferocious performance ever, especially in terms of the screaming. Like he really delivers on that youthful aggression. There's a lot of songs here that you can play to ease a bad mood or something. Like if you're feeling mad or angry, like My Own Summer, Alabia, Rickets, Lotion, or Head Up. And yeah, name songs from White Pony that are as heavy and cathartic as those. I don't think you'd be able to do it, Rossi. But yeah, you also get even besides that, like you also get some pretty chill, reserved songs, about love and relationships, like Mascara, Be Quiet and Drive, or Die the Flu. So yeah, in terms of the performance, yeah, it's one of Chino's most ferocious, and yet the lyrical content is somewhat diverse. Can be angry and cathartic, and lustful and loving. Lyrically, yeah, I know we often talk about how cryptic Deftones is on the channel, but there are a lot of songs here that are kind of on the nose, whose lyrics are quite clear. The lyrics on Around the Fur are raw snapshots of anger, alienation, lust, love, and youth. They're very direct and visceral. White Pony gets more abstract and poetic, but that can sometimes distance the listener. And Around the Fur feels more immediate and real. It feels like you know exactly like how what Chino is feeling when they're not being cryptic like Deftones usually is. And yeah, Around the Fur has some diverse song topics. You have a song here that's just about a hot day Chino once had in the studio, which is My Own Summer. And it became one of their most popular songs ever, probably my favorite song from them. And I think that's just a testament to how good the songwriting is on this album, and how catchy this album is, and and how songwriting, catchiness, and a captivating performance can make even mundane song topics such as the weather and a hot day be pretty interesting. So yeah, the writing on this album really, really helped push the album. And even though it's heavier, Chino balances his harsh screams with soaring, clean vocals, like on Mascara or Die the Flu, showing versatility before White Pony refined it. And Around the Floor is also catchier than White Pony as well. My Own Summer, shove it, shove it, shove it, and Be Quiet and Drive, and Lotion. Those songs are all super catchy. I'm not sure you'll find anything as catchy as that on White the Pony. So yeah, those are my points in terms of the performance and local content of Around the Fur. What do you have to say, Rossi, for White Pony?
Hey man, shitting on White Pony there a little bit, man. I feel it, I feel it. Anywho, though, yeah, White Pony, man. I'm gonna start off with the local content that Chino has. Um, White Pony feels a lot more ambitious in terms of it being a lot more complex, arranged, and genre bending in a sense. Even though Around Your Fur has a lot more in your face and a much more clear lyrical content, I feel like the rap melodies or the rap metal nods that Chino brings within um, White Pony is a lot more, refined in my opinion. I mean, you have songs like Back to School, and we need to we need to be real with ourselves that with Deftones, when it comes towards their intro song towards an album, it's one of the best, if not the best, of the album. So it's always going to be a killer, especially putting something like My Own Summer versus Back to School. I mean, that's pretty tough in itself. I'm pretty sure a TMC guy would pick. I'm sure he know what I would pick as well, but I feel like there are a lot of gems within White Pony that brings lyrically on this regard. I mean, you have songs like RX Queen, where he's showing a lot more of an experimental vibe with his melodies and rhythms towards that song that doesn't isn't really brought up within Around the Fur, and that's layered through the entire album of White Pony. I mean, you have one of Deftones' biggest songs, all around songs, being Change, and my my personal favorite Deftones songs ever, which is Knife Party. I really, really enjoy that song. It's got this chill but yet sinister vibe in terms of what Chino brings out, and then he comes on with the chorus, go get your knife, go and get your knife. Like, it's very, very boppy. I really do enjoy it. You have songs like also Digital Bath that also have this looming grim that Chino tries to interpret over towards the song, and the instrumentals and the production also basically complements that over. But not to speak too much on the production, it's mainly just local content. I think White Pony does stand on its own with being a very lyrically intelligent album, very similar to Was Around the Fur in that regard. I think it's gonna be a pick your poison type of situation where with Around the Fur you're gonna get a lot more in your face heavy ass tunes, and with White Pony they become a little bit more abstract and a lot more chilled, not losing the new metal aesthetic though. It's still something that they rock with through and through. But yeah, that's my points for the lyrical content on White Pony. We can move on to our next segment, and then yeah, we'll keep it going.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So I think let's just give ourselves like 2 minutes, then we can rebut. So for me, the rap metal thing, I guess I kind of see what you mean, like in terms of like the performance, like because I can't think of any rapping performance besides. Oh wait, there's head up actually on the foot. There's head up, but I think Back to School was kind of a better performance, but. I think the more ferocious, energy in terms of the performance for me is like it's like I enjoy that more on Around the Foot than I do than the rapping on thingy on Back to School. Sure, there's like genre blending, but I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's not like Sheena's like the best rapper or anything. You wouldn't find him in like Wu Tang or anything or anything. You wouldn't put him like against like any Wu Tang rappers or any battle rappers or whatever. But in terms of the screaming, like nah. In terms of the screaming, mm-mm. I think I think in terms of like the screaming and the ferociousness, like you can't debate like Around the First Straight up better there. Like there, like I don't know. I don't think you can debate that in terms of just the energy and ferociousness of the performance. Nah, it's around the foot. Really, it really gets your blood going. So like yeah, I don't know anything from me that you wanna rebut.
Yeah, guys, you know how I feel about these two albums, bro. Arguing about them is tough, man. These are my two favorite Deftones albums, and I'm still in
Same here.
between about which is my favorite. Um, there's nothing really to rebut in terms of Around the Fur. I mean, you're absolutely correct. We can't really look at White Pony and be like, okay, this is like the best rap album. It's definitely a better, well, not rap album per se, but there's better rapping on the album on White Pony than there is on Around the Fur. And, Around the Fur, it does have a lot of elements with the screaming and the lyrical, not the yeah, the vocal fluctuations, lyrical performance. I can understand why it is a stronger case for Chino. So, just to move on to the next one, I'll give the dub to Around the Fur. I got something else cooked up, y'all. I got something else cooked up. I'll let him take this one. So yeah, we can move on to the next one, man.
So Rossi concedes he thinks the lyrical content and performance of Around the Foot are better. So yeah, I so
Slightly
now let's
better,
go on to
slightly
I
better.
Sure. Alright, next we have the instrumentals and the production. Okay, so for me, Around the Foot probably Deftones' most like riff driven album. Like you could also make the case for Diamond Eyes or Koi no Yokan, but Stephen Kopitar is almost the main character of those albums, especially on Around the Fur. Like Chino is still front and center, of course, though, but Stephen really makes his presence felt on these albums. If you like just good old fashioned heaviness, Around the Fur is your jam. Like yeah, I can concede that White Pony has more diverse instrumentals since it taps into more genres, but a diverse soundscape doesn't necessarily mean it's better for me. Like the riffs are just better on Around the Fur. You won't find any riff on White Pony as good as My Own Summer's riff. That song's riff, like it kills any riff on White Pony, just dead. Just like it's like not even a competition for me. In fact, even when I think about a lot of the songs from White Pony that I like, it's not because of the riff. Or let me say, the riff isn't the best part of the song, or even the second or third best part about it. Like RX Queen, Street Cop, Knife Party, Change in the House of Flies, or Pink Maggot. Like the riffs are still pretty good there, but I'm also go to those songs for like the vibe or the lyrics or the performance. Like I'm not in a rush to look up the tabs, the guitar tabs of those songs, riffs, so I can learn how to play them on my guitar or anything. And even Abe Cunningham on the drums, like just listen to his work on Rickets or My Own Summer. His drums really stand out in the mix. They're groovy, they're punchy, they're catchy. Like he really goes off there. So that's what I gotta say in terms of the production and riffing on Around the Foot. But what about you?
All right, the production and sound. Now, despite Pony being a very cohesive sound, especially when it comes towards the riffs, in my opinion, the production is a lot more refined and expansive within White Pony. It incorporates a lot of electric elements, ambience textures, and even turntables from DJ Frank Del Gundo, if I'm not mispronouncing that. In this aspect, the album feels a lot more cinematic, and TMC guy basically just walked into my point here. Even though the riffs are not the best, the vibe overall makes the song a lot better. You're not only looking at the riffs, but you're looking at the the drums, you're looking at the production, you're looking at Chino's performance, an overall vibe that feels a lot more better, a lot more how could I put it? It seems a lot more friendly to jump into. And I think that's going to be a bit of a criticism by me because I still like the heavy sound that Deftones does bring out. But I think where White Pony excels in this regard is that it's not just an album for new metal or metal in general. It gets time to breathe. It really gets time to digest what it's relating over to, what it's speaking about in terms of its production. I mean, you have songs like Teenager, which is very soft, but it's very harmonizing in a sense, and can't really get that from Around the Fur. All right, the sound is cleaner yet more innovating, blending electric guitar with the shoegazy and electrical elements. I think this shift helps Deftones escape from that new metal label that it basically gets and puts it in its own stratosphere since Deftones doesn't like to be categorized within that genre. But nonetheless, to conclude my point, I think I've referenced over why I think Deftones White Pony is better overall than Around the Fur in that regard. But we can't always go ahead and debate this topic. So TMZ guy, please let me know how wrong I am.
Alright, so yeah, in terms of the production, like I do kind of agree with what you're saying in terms of how diverse it is, since there's like a lot of genre fusions on it. But like, I think you can say Around the First production is more consistent. You know what I mean? It's a more consistent vibe. You know, it's like this heavy anger, aggression with like a few soft moments in there. Mascara, Die the Flu, I guess, and Be Quiet and Drive. Even though Be Quiet and Drive's riff is like semi heavy, I guess. But like, yeah, it's like around the first. It's a more consistent, production. It's produced really, really well. So it's more consistent. And then White Ponies is more like diverse and stuff. You get, some shoegazy and art pop on like Digital Bath, and you get some really heavy aggression on Back to School. You get some rap metal on. I mean, not Back to School on Elite. Then you get some rap metal on Back to School. So like, yeah, in terms of the production, I do like both, but like, yeah, I don't know. I think here I might have to concede here. I might have to concede simply because of like the diversity. Like I stand on my point that the riffs are definitely better on Around the Fur, but yeah, uh, Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I'm not rushing to learn how to play the riffs from White Pony, but it's just like the vibe of it and just how diverse it is. It really helps like with the production. Like it really puts you on like a cloud and stuff. So like yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I would have to give it to the production on White Pony. So yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, yeah. I'll give you that round, Rossi. I don't know if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, yeah, I actually do. But yeah, appreciate that point. But yeah, you are definitely correct. I would stand by you by saying that the riffs are totally better within Around the Fur. What makes Around the Fur so good is its raw and unforgiving nature. It feels like a live in the room feel, like here they are playing right in front of your face. Whereas White Pony feels, you could say, a lot more mainstream in a sense, but you can't really put Deftones in that sort of category. It's just a lot more refined in terms of what they bring, as well as their signature style sort of being interpreted within White Pony. I think it's being displayed over the best there. It's not just hard riffs. There's a lot of shoegazy, a lot of electric styles that's been littered through their entire catalog. So a lot of influence has been taken over from White Pony, which is why I think it is overall better in terms of its production level. But that's just my stance. I'm still gonna take the point over, so I appreciate that. We can go ahead and move on towards our next round.
All right, so round three is the consistency and standout tracks. So yeah, both albums are pretty consistent. So I guess I can only judge their consistency by their weakest tracks on both albums. So for me, that's the title track of Around the Fur versus Korea for me. And this definitely goes to the title track for me from Around the Fur. I think Around the Fur's title track, it just stomps on Korea. So in terms of which album's momentum is halted the most by their worst track, it'll be White Pony for me. And then Around the Fur knows exactly what it wants to be. You know, a heavy, aggressive, emotional record. White Pony experiments a lot, but that also means it's less cohesive. Plus, for me, there are more standout, all-time great Deftones tracks on Around the Fur. My Own Summer, Labia, Rickets, Be Quiet and Drive, Lotion, Head Up. That's more than half of the album. So yeah, there's like 11 tracks on the album. Well, 10 tracks, but the 11th track is the hidden track. So like that's more than half of this album that could be on like a Deftones greatest hits album if they still make those. So yeah, in terms of the consistency for me, Deftones is it's sonically more consistent, although yeah, you could definitely argue that White Ponies produce better. Sonically, it's more consistent. There are a lot more that I feel like the standard tracks are better on Around the Fur, and yeah, yeah, yeah. In terms of the worst tracks, I'm taking the worst track of Around the Fur over the worst track of White Pony for me. But yeah, I don't know about you, Rossi. So, what do you have in terms of your points for round three?
Oh, I kind of want to rebuttal your ass right now, but it's cool. It's cool. Let me speak on White Pony for now, and then I'll get back to you. Now, in terms of the consistency and the standouts over on White Pony, I will agree that Around the Fur is a lot more consistent than White Pony. It feels like a build up in a sense. You go from My Own Summer, and then it sort of relaxes a little bit, then it just ramps up. The same can kind of be said over for White Pony as well. I mean, there are some really, really great songs within White Pony here. Let me just get to my list so I can have a look. You'd think that I would know like all these songs off by heart, but I've listened to too many Deftones songs. So I just have to make sure, because what if I name a song from a previous from another record anyways? I mean, you have songs like Digital Bath. It just has a lot of sinister energy being brought forth, and then Elite to switch up towards this heavy ass song. You have a street. I call it street crap, but I don't think that's how you say it. I think it's street carp.
Street Cop. Yeah,
Street Cop, yeah,
Street
yeah.
Cop.
You also have Street Cop. I really like Street Cop, and then its nature changing over from teenager, then back to Knife Party. It gives similarities towards, in my opinion, it gives similarities to Private Music, where there's like a heavy song, then it goes a little bit lighter, then it's a heavy song, then it goes a little bit light in that aspect. And I really like that nature from Deftones. I think it really it shows that they're able to tackle each and every sort of piece that they want to interpret towards this album, and White Pony being the quintessential, you know, best one in my opinion. I think it runs very, very well. I think it does get a little bit lackluster. That's why I gave the consistency over to around the fur. But yeah, what you said over in terms of the worst and the best tracks. I'm gonna go ahead and rebuttal that right now. I cannot believe you put Korea versus Around the Fur. Nah. Nah. Around the Fur is one of the best songs in Around the Fur. I'm not gonna lie to you. Calling it one of the worst songs within the album, despite it being so great, is a that's a hot take from you, bro. I'm not gonna lie. If it was up to me, right, I could definitely say Korea being the worst from White Pony, yes. But I would say that versus like a maybe like a Die the Flu, maybe like an MX, even though MX is like long as hell, something like that. Not Around the Fur, man. That song is peak, bro. I can't forgive you for that, and because of that, I'm gonna stand to 10 toes here and say that in terms of the consistency and the standout tracks are gonna be labeled over in White Pony. But yo, you go ahead and rebuttal my points, dog.
Yeah, like I don't know. For me, it's just Korea, and Korea. For me, it's definitely the worst there. And on the floor, I don't know. Even online, it kind of seems to like be getting some love. But like, yeah, I think in terms of the standout tracks, I don't think you could. It's hard to argue that there are more all-time standout tracks on Around the Fur than White Pony for me. That's the thing. Because I guess yeah, there's Back to School, Fight to Sarah. Yeah, Digital Bath is pretty cool.
Elite,
Yeah, yeah, Elite is pretty good.
Orange
Elite is
Creek,
pretty good.
Street
Yeah,
Cops.
I'm talking about like putting something on like a greatest hits Deftones album, and not so much. But Change would
You
definitely be
definitely gotta
there.
put you definitely gotta put Knife Party and Change there.
Yeah, not Knife Party would definitely be there. But like, you see what I mean, though. You see what I mean? Like in terms of like just hype, like top tier Deftones tracks. Nah, it definitely has to go to Around the Fur in terms of like
All
standout
right.
tracks. But like, yeah, I guess I don't know. It doesn't seem like we're gonna agree on this.
Okay. No. I'll agree on you if you agree that Around the Fur is, you know, the song. Around the Fur, the song is not the worst song on the Around the Fur album. Like you can't say that, bro. You can't say that, bro. You can't compare. You can't compare. Like I said, I can agree that Korea is. It's a good song, but it's obviously the worst out of White Pony, in my opinion. But you can't compare that to the title track Around the Fur. That song is sick, though. That chorus.
Yeah, I don't know, Doug. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to disappoint you here for that. That for me. Ever since high school when I first heard it, I've never been like, I don't know. It's my least favorite from. It's always been my least favorite from that album. I doubt it's gonna change now. Like almost 10 years since I first listened
Damn.
to this album. So like, yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. I guess we're not gonna budge here. I don't know. Maybe the watchers can discuss in the comments. What do you guys? Which album do you guys think is the more consistent one? But yeah, okay. Round four, last round, the overall album experience. So, bro, this could be the heaviest album. This could be the heaviest album in terms of heaviness, unbridled aggression. Yeah, this could be number one. The album sequencing is arguably better too on this album. It has a much stronger intro in My Own Summer. Like it's a better way to kick off the album than Back to School, or even in other versions of White Pony Fight to Sierra as the first song. But even there, My Own Summer is still a better track. And you also get a hidden track to discover on Damone at the 30 with Damone at the 32-minute mark of MX. So it's like they leave like a little Easter egg or reward for fans who stuck around through that long silence of MX. So you were rewarded for your curiosity essentially, and it's a great treat too because Damone is a great track. Also, since Around the Fur is heavier, it by default goes hard on the whip. It by default goes hard on the whip. Which album are you picking to play to hype up the homies when you're or driving to some venue? You're gonna pick Around the Fur. You're gonna pick Around the Fur like that. Around the Fur, it definitely goes hard on the whip. I think, yeah, we've done, adventures and stuff in the whip with like, playing Deftones, and like, yeah, the Around the Fur songs just go so hard, bro. And yeah, and I mentioned earlier how cathartic this album is So for me, connecting with the audience on like an emotional level is always a W. So yeah, and also it's catchier too. Like the songs are fun to sing along to. My own summer's hella catchy. Labia's is also kind of catchy. Lotions is hella catchy. Be Quiet and Drive is hella catchy. Head Up is kind of catchy. So yeah, catchiness, like yeah, but it's just, yeah, just the way that on the film makes me feel. Just the overall experience is like, it's like I can put it on if if I'm just feeling in like a bad mood. If I'm feeling sad, I can put on like Rickets. If I'm feeling like pissed or something, and I can put on like Head Up or something, and like it's just like, yeah, just for like as a vibe around the homies, I'm definitely picking Around the Fur over White Pony, and yeah, just Around the Fur overall, I think it is kind of like the better album experience. I think, yeah, but I don't know. Maybe you can convince me. So let's just hear what you have to say in terms of the overall
Uh,
album experience.
yeah, definitely some good points that you have brought up there. Speaking about White Pony, it's set up with a lot more maturity from the heaviness that Around the Third does normally bring. The subject matter gets a lot more abstract and personal, in my opinion, exploring addiction, identity crisis, and surreal dreams. A song like a Passenger is a dark ride through desire and control, and Knife Party mixes vulnerability with violence in a sense. The theme leans a lot more towards introspection, escapism, and even more spirituality. Think of like a drug-filled revelation and emotional depth in a sense. Me being a pothead, I think that's probably why I relate more towards this album. So take that as you will. It's less about external chaos, or yeah, external chaos, and more about internal turmoil in a sense. While both albums though do tackle relationships and pain, White Pony feels a lot more poetic and layered, and I think that's why my pick would always be White Pony in that sense. It feels a lot more vulnerable in that regard. A lot of things that I can relate to towards the album in that aspect. But when you do put it against something towards like a group setting, it's definitely gonna go over towards Around the Fur. I feel like Around the Fur is like a GMX in a sense. Whereas a White Pony is like a
To
what's the
Pimp a
album before
Butterfly.
GNX?
Oh,
Yeah, even to pimp a butterfly. Yeah. To pimp a butterfly, or yeah, something like that. You could compare it towards that. Or if I had to put Drake in the mix, Around the Fur would be like a if you're reading this, it's too late, and then a White Pony would be
Take Care. Or Nothing Was the Same.
like a Take Care. Like a Take Care. I think
Yeah.
Take Care works a lot more better. So I think it's what more so generalizes with your vibe. TMC guy is a lot more strict, hard-headed person, so it makes sense why he'd go over towards Around the Fur. I'm a lot more extroverted in a sense, and a lot more happy-go, stoner vibe, blah blah blah, whatever. So I think that's why I'd go over towards White Pony. But I'm actually gonna give this round over to Around the Fur, because that's a very good point. Where we'll be going on our adventures, and a lot of the Deftones songs, at least compared to was Around the Fur and White Pony, there's a lot more Around the Fur songs within our Deftones or rock playlist being played over when we are going on our outing. So definitely very hard to pick between the two. But I can definitely give over the win to Around the Fur. So I kind of rebutted you what you said in a sense, not really, but yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, you kind of added to what I said. You didn't really rebut me, but I think I might just rebut you because I think for the overall album experience, because I was really just arguing for Around the Fur, just since it's my side, I'm trying to make the case for Around the Fur. But I think if I'm being honest, I would actually give the overall album experience to White Pony because just simply because of like the diversity, because it just takes you on like so many so it just puts you like through so many emotions and stuff. It really is like a journey listening to that album, and it is also really catchy. It can be really spacey and ethereal. There's like some heartfelt love songs on there, like Teenager, and stuff. There's also like Digital Bath. Then there are like a few heavy songs. I guess there are a few songs that could go hard in the whip. I think Back to School could go bangs in the whip. Elite bangs in the whip. Fighter Sarah, kind of also bangs in the whip. But like generally speaking, around the boys, I'm definitely picking Around the Four over White Pony. But for the overall album experience, I think I might actually go with White Pony. So I think that concludes our debate, I guess. So round one, we gave it to Around the Fur. Round two, gave it to White Pony. Round three and four, we couldn't decide, I guess. So I guess
We,
we're still in a
we fought
stalemate,
on
bro.
round three. We fought on
Yeah,
round three. We came together in round four. I mean, guys, this
yeah,
just tells you these two albums are they're neck and neck, man. They bring a lot
mm,
of different things, but it speaks a lot about what the band represents. I mean, the fact that these albums have been the two biggest albums ever. One of the songs from these albums is the biggest song ever. Or you could even say like the top songs from these two albums. Like you said, there's not around the first, sorry, there's My Own Summer, there's what's the other song
be
again?
quiet,
Um,
be quiet, and
yeah,
drive.
Be Quiet and Drive. There's Change. There's a lot of songs from these albums that a lot of fans really go back to and touted as one of the best Deftones songs out there. And yeah, I mean, very very hard to debate between these two albums, but really really great listen, guys. We recommend these albums so much. If you're not listening to the whole band already, at least give these albums a listen. They are really a joy to listen to. Something new as well, especially if you're someone that just listens to one genre. I won't name no names, but
Yeah, but I think you gave a good analogy by saying like by comparing it to hip hop artists. I guess for like the fans that may not be familiar with metal, like Around the Fur is more like a good Kid, Mad City. It's like it has like those hype songs, but it can also be serious and like emotional and cathartic and stuff. Then White Pony can be like a typical butterfly. It's like more experimental, and I guess maybe the writing might be a little deeper and maybe more thought provoking. I guess, but like I feel like that's the best way to put it for non-hip hop fans that might be thinking about getting into metal. Deftones is a pretty great gateway band, and these two albums are definitely the way to go. But that's gonna be it from us, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Please like, please share the video, please comment, please subscribe. Help us get to 100 subs. We love the support that you guys have been giving us. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm signing out. Rossi signing out as well. Peace out.